Hi everyone. In today's video I wanted to share something that's been on my mind for some time, and I would like to share a little bit of a story that explains this. So back in college, during my sophomore year of college, I have chapel 3 times a week, and during this time I'd usually arrive to chapel 5 to 10 minutes early, and I wouldn't really know what to do other than listen to the background music or have small talk with my friends. I mean, all of that was fine. But one day, sitting in chapel, I kind of realized something, and that was, well, I'm not really doing a whole lot, and I could be using this 5 to 10 minutes either studying or doing something. So one day I just pulled out my phone, went on the LinkedIn app, and I just sort of wrote down the thought of the day that I was having. And for the rest of that semester, every time I went to chapel, I would always take out my phone, go on LinkedIn, and just write for about a minute or so of my thoughts. And in today's video, I would just like to share some of these LinkedIn posts that I wrote a couple of years ago. And I hope you enjoy listening to this. My time is brief in this one life to make a difference in the world. That's all I want to do, to help other people and connect human beings to the power of music, so that one day the world will truly be a different world than the one we live in today. I believe that when humans come together with ideas and humbleness and courage to understand one another, the world changes for good. I'm curious if you have ever had an experience like this that has shaped your life. Can you imagine a world without labels? A world without labels on who we are as individuals and as a greater society. It's a dream of mine that I hope to use my life to realize. All of us have the power and responsibility to choose how our lives will play out. Every choice we make brings us closer to who we are chasing in life. My question is, what are you chasing in life? Is it for yourself, or is it for something greater than yourself? If we are going to change this world for good, we should first ask ourselves how we are being good to others. This world would not be fixed on its own. It needs the people to have the courage to find common ground with each other and to hold on to what makes us one. I believe a world of good is not out of our reach. We just have to choose to reach for that. I like to understand people and get to know their story and journey in life. It makes me realize that all of us have a unique story about who they are, and it's with meaningful connections and stories that we as humans become interconnected by our commonality. I've decided to be grateful with my life and to see each and every day as a gift and opportunity to help make a difference in this world. The world needs more people to come together and to choose to not only do what's right, but choose to show kindness and love. I've decided to be grateful with my life and to see each and every day as a gift and opportunity to help make a difference in this world. There is goodness in every person of this world. The capacity to hate will never be more than our capacity to love, even in the midst of such conflict today. I want my life to be a reflection of the teachings of Jesus Christ. I wonder what is the meaning of our lives, and if my life is going towards this meaning. Having a goal or destination is important in life, but what's more important is understanding why that's your goal. To know why is more important than the what and how. I think people have a strong desire to feel valued and loved, and to feel like they have a meaning and purpose in life. If we decided to encourage one another and to help lead each other towards their purpose in life, I believe that this world will be a world of good. Many people may feel like this world is broken and too divided beyond repair, but I believe that the world has always had sin since the beginning. It is a test of faith for how we will overcome and handle the world that we live in today. There is power in our story. It's our identity and it's who we are. Without the narrative of our story, there is little understanding, and I believe that we live in a day of age where understanding one another has been forgotten. I'm willing to be honest and open to understanding the narrative of someone else in my life. That's the only way we will come closer to one another. How we treat others says more about who we are than what we think. Actions do speak louder than words, but it's also important to have actions that support your words. There is always an option to do what's right, even in the face of pressure from society or even the self. I have to remind myself to always think long-term with decision and understand why I'm making certain choices with my life. What is inspiration? Perhaps every imaginative and new idea comes from a different perspective and insight. The world is full of people waiting to create and express. Sometimes we need to give them a chance to change the world with their expression and life. When I look back at my life, I'm convinced of one thing. I did not do enough with the time I was given to make a difference in the world. That's my greatest regret, that I wasted my time in life. We have to understand that our time in life is limited. What truly matters is what we do for others in this world. How we look at each other influences how we look at ourselves. If we want to help fix this broken world and society, we first have to understand who we are to ourselves and to others. I have always felt like I was different than everyone else, even from a young age. I think it takes courage to be yourself and stand up for what is truth, especially in today's society. But it is the truth that will set us all free, and in the end, it is the truth that we will be the last thing standing. I've decided to live my life in calling in pursuit of the truth. If we knew when we would die in this life, if we knew the exact day and moment, would we want to change how we lived our lives? Are we choosing to live a life for others or for ourselves? To express ourselves and who we are requires not only courage, but understanding, and a willingness to accept and give love. I believe we all have the responsibility to choose what is good in this world and to others. There will be a day when we realize that this world and society is a result of our choices to not do what is right. I hope we will never get there, but what we can do is realize this and begin to change our heart and mind onto others with love and compassion. Hate is never the answer to anything. The definition of success for society includes factors like a comfortable living situation, a well-paying job, a family, and being happy. But that's not how I'm going to live my life, and I cannot conform to what society expects of me. What are we chasing in life? Is it success, or something more than just for oneself? There is a lot I don't understand in life, and perhaps I never will. But there exists within this life something far more rewarding than knowledge: wisdom. With wisdom comes experience, and to experience life is to live with a sense of acceptance and peace. I wonder if 5 or 10 years down the road I look back at my life and realize I didn't do enough. If I didn't take each and every day an opportunity and make the most of it. Or maybe I'll look back and realize I tried my best, and that's enough. The future of our world depends on what kind of vision and future we want. It is our responsibility to look for common goals and interest in one another. Only through a means that encompasses the whole of humanity can we move forward in a direction that unifies and brings us closer. This is the future I envision. The lesson of life is that you will never stop learning. Every day brings something meaningful and valuable to our lives. I'm reminded to see the world in a different perspective and to embrace change in life. The greatest accomplishment we can achieve in life is to live out a life for others and to love one another. Society puts an emphasis on work and status, all temporary and fleeting things of this world. What we do today will affect what tomorrow will look like. If I had a megaphone and could reach every human being on this world, my message would be this: we must have the courage to love one another and understand that we are all human beings with a life that is beyond measure in value and meaning. When we come together, we change not just who we are, we also change who we will be in the future. I always believed that the human condition should have no limits to its capacity to love and express. I still believe this to be the truth. It's society that says we are not free and only some people are creative. To be free in life means to be free in all of the expectations in life, and to simply live a life with meaning and value. Perhaps life isn't so simple, and maybe that's why we tend to believe we aren't as creative as we get older in life. If everything you said and did was shown on the big screen to everyone in the world, would you say and do the things you do now? There will always be conflict and hate in this world. What matters is how we choose to act and respond. Have we forgotten such standards and morals, like respect and kindness, that we allow the divisiveness in the world to control our thoughts and actions? The greatest fear I have in life is to not live my own life. I believe that music is one of the only good remaining things of this world, specifically classical music. I say and believe this because over time, we still continue to play this music with remembrance and openness to its possibility to help our lives and this world. My passion with music involves bringing together other human beings to make and express music. That is going to be the voice of the world. I've decided to practice and become better at being kind and loving others. I know I may never be perfect, but I'm willing to take the risk to live a good life for others and for God. The worst reality we can live in is a world where every individual is just that, an individual. It's a world where no one has the desire to reach beyond their own life and capacity and connect to one another. I fear we are heading that way if we don't recognize the importance of understanding one another. A world without labels. That's one of my strongest passions and beliefs in life. No longer are we going to label everyone and everything. We must look at each other without these labels from society, and instead look at each other as human beings. There will always be one more story to tell and communicate through music, even after every book has been written and every word spoken. There is always another story about the human condition in life. What is the one thing that keeps us from accomplishing our dreams and goals in life? Is it society's pressure and expectations? Is it family and personal struggles? Is it fear or lack of self-confidence? While these may be some of the things that come to mind, it is not what I truly believe holds us back from accomplishing our goals in life. The one thing that I believe prevents us from living out our lives in total freedom and vulnerability is failure. The notion that we are scared of what other people will judge and think of us if we fail. But the thing is that I don't believe failure exists. It's just a word we have attached a loose definition to be something not good. That's not true. You either win and succeed or learn from your mistakes. But you never fail. You just may believe you are, but really you are one step closer on your journey in life. The one thing that keeps us believing in life and in this world is love. There is no greater power or force than the power of love. There will always be both good and bad in this world, but we must decide how we are going to use love to one another. It's important we really ask ourselves what it is in life we are chasing. If we don't have a goal or destination in mind, our path in life will not only be devoid of meaning, it can lead us to a place where we don't want to go. This then begs the question, what is the meaning of life? And to answer that requires the full commitment in life to learn, to make mistakes, and to grow as a human. There will be a day when we as people will realize we could have helped those around us and those who couldn't speak up. And it will be a day that will forever change us and who we are as human beings. What defines us in life is not our accomplishments or achievements. What truly matters in life is how we lived our life in reflection of Jesus Christ. Nothing else matters more. How many of us have forgotten that we have the capacity to express and communicate? We are not a bunch of labels or constructs of society or evolution. We are much more than this. We are human beings. When we come together, we can land a person to the moon, and we stand divided when we cannot even call our neighbor a friend. Our responsibility in life and to each other is to love one another and to help inspire and support our dreams and endeavors as a humanity. There is so much in life that we do not have the answers to, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to search and discover for the truth. In fact, sometimes the process of searching can lead to something more valuable, perhaps more important than the answer. It's the understanding. What is one of the most important things we can do and control in our lives? Among the many things that we cannot control, the one thing we have the choice to do is to take responsibility for our own lives. There is a freedom and sense of purpose when you realize and accept that you are responsible for your own life, and that also means you can change your life and steer it in a way that can better be in pursuit of what you want in life. I've always wondered what other human beings think and feel. I wonder how it is that we all have a different set of individual thoughts and feelings, and yet we can come together to discuss common ideas and values. I guess that's what fascinates me most about life, knowing that the human life is both knowable and unknowable. Our story of who we are and our journey in life is one of the most powerful ways to communicate and connect to one another. Some people may feel like being vulnerable or very open with their life is very difficult to do. Regardless of our circumstances, we all have a story to share that is worth sharing. It's within the collective consciousness that the truth emerges. The value in understanding one another is beyond measure, and yet we have lost, in a sense, the value of human life for one another. Nothing will pull us apart more than believing our differences make us impossible to live with one another. We need to remember that only through love will there be any change in the heart and mind. I would love to begin a conversation with anyone who is passionate about life and realizing that tomorrow may be the last day to live. If people would realize the necessity to not waste time and chase after what truly matters in life. It's not fame or status or even happiness. Those are all fleeting things of society. What truly matters is what life did we live, and did we live it for Christ? Or did we live it for ourselves and just for this world? If you think about what is truth, I think you'll come to a series of questions that will lead you down a trail of more questions until finally you come to two choices. You either deny that such a fundamental truth can exist in this reality, or you accept the fact that certain things cannot be fully known. But that doesn't mean they can't be fully realized. Truth is not the goal to which we align and live our lives. It's the morals and values that express themselves through certain truths that guide us to an understanding the truth. This is my goal, to change the world with music. Sound crazy? Why does this sound crazy? Because it's never been done before? But only in man's imagination does one truly become free. And so now is the time to live and exult and find deep within himself the courage and revelation to do what he has felt to do with his life. To live is not to simply breathe, but to breathe with passion. So that was some of the LinkedIn posts that I wrote 2 years ago in my sophomore year of college in chapel. It's interesting reading them now, seeing how some of my thoughts have changed, or some of my thoughts have actually stood the test of time. And I think in today's society, with everything that's going on, I think it's more important now more than ever that we can look at one another with love and compassion, rather than conflict and divisiveness. And I think ultimately how we look at one another and how we love one another, that's how we're going to be judged and viewed in our lives. And I know I don't have a huge platform, and I don't want to make this political, but I do believe in my own life that I have a responsibility with whatever it is that I do, that I'm loving one another and that I'm treating each other with respect and kindness. And that ultimately, in this life that you live too, that we can understand one another and accept one another despite the differences and despite what society and the news would tell us how we should be. I think we need to start looking at each other as human beings, like I mentioned. And I think that one day, hopefully in the future, that day of looking one another, with no differences and no prejudice and just looking at other people as human beings, maybe that day will be realized one day. And it all starts with our responsibility and choice to love.